You know, people ask what his legacy is, and I suppose it's broken into two or three pieces, because you obviously have the films, and you know, I think that's his real legacy there. His spirit, his character, the character of his characters that he portrayed. You know, I think those will live on forever. The other side of the legacy is the family. 20 some odd grandkids, and now there's 20 some odd great grandkids. I mean, it keeps expanding and expanding. Before my dad died, he died of cancer. He asked the family to use his name to further the fight against cancer, to try to find a cure for cancer. So we established the John Wayne Cancer Foundation, that then funded the initial John Wayne Cancer Clinic at UCLA, and then funded the feasibility study to have that moved over to St. John's Hospital in Santa Monica. We fund, support, awareness, education, and research with the foundation. So most of the research is at John Wayne Cancer Institute. A lot of the education is at John Wayne Cancer Institute, because we have the third largest fellowship training program in the United States, where newly minted surgeons leave school and they come and train under our top surgical oncologists that also work as in the science, that do the basic science at the Institute. So those guys will spend a couple of years working under those surgeons, and then they take that technology and that knowledge and all those relationships that they've gained at the Cancer Institute out to underserved areas around the country and around the world. And that's pretty important to us as a family. We think that's a very important program. The foundation also supports support groups for men fighting cancer, adolescents fighting cancer, couples fighting cancer. But we always try to do it somewhere where we get the people outside, outdoors. The men go fly fishing, the adolescents go river rafting, the couples may go on a retreat somewhere and hike, and then work through their support groups together. And those are very important programs to us, and I think those will end up being a big part of his legacy as that part of it grows. Another component of the foundation would be a camp for kids that have been affected by cancer. It's something that we're going to be working on a lot next year, and something we're really excited about, because, you know, my dad, he loved kids. You know, he had 7. He always liked kids on the set. He liked kids in the communities where we'd go work. He thought they were important. They were the future, and I know he'd be proud to know that there was a camp or a place where these kids could get out and spend a little time having fun once they get through that whole process of cancer, if they do. A place where the family can spend a little time together and reconnect. It was always kind of an adventure with him. Never a dull moment.
I heard he had a cannon that they used to shoot off.
At sunset, we'd shoot off. The cannon changed sizes from year to year, but sort of a tradition at sunset, fire off a cannon, pull the flag down. Sometimes that cannon would get loaded with a little bit more gunpowder and wet newspapers we'd stuff with it. You know, if you get too close to another boat, it might end up with a bunch of, you know, wet, burning newspaper flying around it. But all in good spirits.
I did get a chance to go by and see the Wild Goose, even though it's been converted, and I know it's not the ship she used to be, because it was a converted minesweeper. Now somebody has bought it and converted it into more of a dinner party boat.
Yeah, they added a couple decks, so you can kind of still see the basic hull platform there. When my dad had it, it was it didn't have any fringe or chrome or anything on it. It was a comfortable, useful boat, and we really had a lot of good times on that boat. You know, the boat went through the canal to Europe and the Mediterranean, Portugal, Galapagos, Caribbean, you know, Mexico, Baja, Sea Cortez. Oregon coast, Washington coast, Canada, Alaska. He loved being on the boat. It was, I think it was a place where he could go and not be disturbed too much. He could spend time with his family and friends, and yet he could still go into a little town or into a little port and interact with the public, but he could get that sort of peaceful time away with his group without interruptions on that boat, and he really enjoyed it.
What do you do for awareness with youth to educate them on, John Wayne and John Wayne America?
Well, he's got 3 films a day on average on television. So I think the youth is exposed to him a little bit, but we are sort of losing an audience. There's some of the programs that we do at Wayne Enterprises, like the surf trunks. The kids see it, they like the trunks, I think it's cool, and then they may put it together later on, or when they see John Wayne, they go, it's a guy from the trunks, who knows. We have some terrific shirts with Old Guys Rule that support some of the money from that program goes to the Cancer Foundation. So, Old Guys Rule's out there and in front of people a lot. It's a popular clothing company, so they'll see him that way. Team Duke is involved in, every type of sport and event, so we hope Team Duke introduces him to a new generation of people. So, with those type of programs, we hope to get in front of a younger audience and reintroduce him to that audience, because once you see him, some of those films are timeless. And, he was a powerful personality, and no matter who you are, young or old, when you experience one of those great films like The Searchers or Red River or any one of the trilogy, The Quiet Man, I mean, you go, oh, that guy's cool, and they'll know him.